Hi, it's Jim Ferguson here. Now today I'd like to talk about the concept of sacrifice. It might sound a bit odd, a bit bizarre, but if you stick with me for a few minutes I'll explain why. Now the concept of sacrifice is very much misunderstood. Most people these days, when they think of sacrifice, it's something very negative. They think if they sacrifice something they're going to lose it and it's going to be gone forever. But in reality, the basis of sacrifice is completely reversed. The concept of sacrifice means that you're giving up something of some value, but in return you're going to get something of much greater value. Now historically, if you think for instance about the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans, they would sacrifice to their gods, and they would make the sacrifice because they wanted and expected something in return. If you wanted a good harvest for your vineyard, for your grapes, you would sacrifice or give away barrels of wine to the gods. If you were a king or a general and you were going into battle against the Persians or some other army, then you would sacrifice. And because you were a king or a general and you wanted something big, you'd have to make a big sacrifice. So you'd be sacrificing in those days, 1,000 oxen or something quite, magnificent like that. Now, nowadays, obviously, we don't really expect to sacrifice a goat or a chicken or whatever and get something in return. But we still use that idea. We still talk about people making a sacrifice. Typical one, rising this year would be, the Olympic athletes. They often talk about the sacrifices that athletes have gone through. Olympic athletes, for instance, typically train for something like 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for 6 years of their lives, building up to the Olympics, and that's a tremendous sacrifice in terms of all your, all that time, all the time you could spend with your family, all the time you could spend with your friends, all the other things you could be doing. It's a great sacrifice, but if you're I presume if you're an Olympic athlete and you get a medal at the end of the 6 years, then the moment of winning, that moment of elation is far greater than the sacrifice that you've made over the last 6 years. Now, in other areas, you can apply that same kind of principle. I mean, I'm talking most of the time about small businesses, about home businesses and about online businesses. But what I say really can apply to almost any area of your life. Now, in order to get a business off the ground, and I've done this several times, you have to sacrifice something. You have to put down some money, you have to put in some time, you have to put in some effort. But after a few years, that you reap the rewards. Now, I was reading a book by Jack Canfield, and he mentioned this idea of sacrifice, and it's tied up with various other things. But he said, the average American sits in front of the TV for about 6 hours a day. That seems an awful lot, but I guess most of the world are not far behind, and most people spend an awful lot of time, whether it be 2, 3, 4, or even 6 hours a day in front of the TV. Now, if you sacrifice or give up just one of those hours in front of the TV, and you invest that in some learning, in some training, putting it into developing your own business, then straight away you are way ahead of the other average people who are spending all that time in front of the TV. If you invest maybe a couple of hours a day, then you move up, not from being just a bit of average, you're probably in the top 20%, maybe in the top 10%. If you invest in 2 or 3 hours a day every day for a significant number of time, say a couple of years, then suddenly you're in the top 10, you're in the top 5% of earners in terms of an online business. So something for you to think about. Sacrifice, it's not a bad thing, and if the payback is so great, if you get back more than you sacrifice, then you've got nothing to lose by the bigger the sacrifice, the bigger the payback. Hope that gives you something to think about. Hope you like the video. Just click below, give me a like, or maybe follow the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Bye from Jim.